The distinction made in the Gita between the Purusha and the Prakriti gives us the clue to the various attitudes which the soul can adopt towards nature in its movement towards perfect freedom and rule. The Purusha is, says the Gita, witness, upholder, source of the sanction, knower, lord, enjoyer. Prakriti executes. It is the active principle that must have an operation corresponding to the attitude of the Purusha. The soul may assume, if it wishes, the poise of the pure witness, Sakshi. It may look on at the action of nature as a thing from which it stands apart. It watches but it does not itself participate. We have seen the importance of this quietistic capacity. It is the basis of the movement of withdrawal by which we can say of everything, body, life, mental action, thought, sensation, emotion. This is Prakriti working in the life, mind and body. It is not myself, it is not even mine. And thus come to the soul separation from these things and to their quiescence. This may therefore be an attitude of renunciation or at least of non-participation, tamasic, with the resigned and inert endurance of the natural action, so long as it lasts, rajasic, with the disgust, aversion and recoil from it, sattvic, with the luminous intelligence of the soul's separateness and the peace and joy of aloofness and repose. But also it may be attended by an equal and impersonal delight, as of a spectator at a show, joyous but unattached and ready to rise up at any moment and as joyfully depart. The attitude of the witness at its highest is the absolute of unattachment and freedom from affection by the phenomena of cosmic existence.
Okay, so we'll go into detail. He has based himself entirely on the Gita and also his own experience. Okay, so that's very clear. So when the soul or the consciousness separates itself from body, mind, life and comes out from the prison of body, mind, life and stations itself in the spiritual planes of consciousness. Okay, I'm saying specifically spiritual planes because it can go to the higher mind, it can go to the, depending on the individual, and it can go even to the element mind, intuitive mind. Overmind is a little doubtful because that's very high level. So you have to go to the overmind level after a huge number of years. So I will rule out overmind, but higher mind and element mind is definitely possible when you make your mind silent or you come out. Okay? The mind doesn't become silent, you become silent. You, because at our level, our consciousness is not silent. It is identifying itself with body, mind, life and thinking that I am doing. The consciousness is moving, acting, willing, thinking. But when it comes out, it realizes that it is not doing all that. It is a wrong identification. So, and when it goes up, there are many, many poises and experiences possible. Don't think that it's only one. But Srimati is giving you all the different grades and their reactions. What happens to the individual soul, how it can react. 3 ways he has given us. So one by one we will look at it. The distinction made in the Gita between the Purusha and the Prakriti gives us the clue to the various attitudes which the soul can adopt towards nature in its movement towards perfect freedom and rule. So the Purusha, which your soul or consciousness escapes from the body, mind, life, which is your nature. It's in the outer nature and it stands apart. And when it stands apart, it can take many, many attitudes. So Sridhar is discussing one by one, we will see that. So the Purusha is, says the Gita, witness, number one. So let's look at witness first. Witness means it is only giving the truth. It is seeing what is happening without emotion and without any coloring. Okay? It is not even participating. It is a witness, sakshi. It just looks on and sees what is happening without even any judgment. Not that it can't, not that there is no discrimination. There is discrimination, but there is no judgment. You start seeing everything in a very, very impersonal and unemotional manner. Okay? You just watch everything. Okay? I told you, it's very interesting because it can help you. The camera. Okay? When we are seeing something, our mind is interfering, our vital is interfering, even the body position will interfere with the way you see things. Okay? But When you are in the witness consciousness, nothing affects you. It's exactly like the camera. It records the actual fact without comment. That's why the camera is used very often as a symbol of the witness. Okay, when you get vision, you see it as a camera recording everything. Okay, so no emotion at all in the camera. It's mechanical. You just watch and you are just seeing. So that's the first one, witness. Okay. Then you can also, you see that, oh, I am separate from body, mind, life. And there, when you are separated from body, mind, life, three things can happen. Your attitude can be tamasic, it can be rajasic, or it can also be sattvic. That we'll discuss little later. But you need not be only witness. You can also be the upholder. In other words, you see that, oh, my first reaction was that I am not the body, mind, life. It is not even mine, as he's saying. But there is a connection. There is a connection. You are the one who is actually upholding. Just like a parent upholds a child, not physically, but in every way he is supporting the child. So you realize that yourself is actually supporting the body, mind, life. Your own body, mind, life is being supported by that. At a universal level, universal nature, cosmic nature is supporting the physical world. Okay? So that's it. Upholder. Upholder, bharta. The word, Sanskrit word is bharta. Bri, to hold. That's the root. Okay. Now, source of the sanction. In other words, whatever your body, mind, life has been doing, all the habits and all that, it has allowed. You have allowed it to do all that. Now, the question arises: if your soul is divine, why has it allowed wrong impression? Why is it allowing lies? Why is it allowing murder? Why is it allowing? The reason is that it is experience. It is getting experience. If you don't do certain things, you won't get the experience. Okay, that's like if you tell a child, don't do that, he's sure to do it because he wants to find out what happens after that. So you have allowed your soul to do whatever it is doing. The next step is maybe you think that no, I shouldn't have allowed, and you stop the sanction. So there is the anumanta. Anumati is permission and sanction. So you are actually sanctioning. Now, this is one very interesting thing. In the English language, sanction has got two meanings and opposite meanings. Now, the US is sanctioning Russia. Okay, that means not allowing it to, putting punishment on it. That's not the meaning here. Sanction is permission. Okay, so source of the sanction. But it can also go one degree even higher. You become the knower. You realize that you are Purusa and you understand also your Prakriti. You become the knower. Jnata is the word. Okay. Then you become the Lord. You become master of your own. That also is possible. You can become the master of your own body, mind, life. Even when you are not at the supramental level, a certain amount of mastery comes. As I told you so often, in Srindo's case, he was acting on his own body. Okay, it's a very interesting thing. I'll give you two examples of Srinda acting on his body. One I've told you already. One day Champaklal, who was his personal attendant, saw that his eyes were red. So he said, "Your eyes are red." He said, "Yes, but you come back in 2 hours' time, I'll see." And when he came back, Srinda had managed to clear it with his mastery, power over the body, mind, life. So even when he is not at the supramental level, there is a certain amount of mastery that comes. Okay, that's a power that comes to you. But you can also enjoy. You can become the enjoyer. And what is the enjoyer? Bhokta. You understand everything that you did not enjoy earlier, now you start enjoying. So all these attitudes are possible, and maybe there are even combinations of all these things that is possible. Okay, so it depends on the individual. Prakriti executes. It is the active principle and must have an operation corresponding to the attitude of the Purusa. This is very similar in the physical world also. Here is Modi, okay, he is the Prime Minister, and he says, I would like this to happen. I would like this to be done. And he doesn't do it. He just says, gives the order. He is sanctioning and the order, and the rest is executed by lower officials. So this is exactly what the Purusa does. It sanctions the actions of Prakriti. Okay. It's exactly like that. The Purusa does not act directly in the world. It can, but it does not. It normally acts through the Prakriti. It consciousness acts through Shakti, its own Shakti. Okay? So these are all the attributes. Now, the soul may assume, if it wishes, the poise of the pure witness. So we have seen what the witness is, absolutely not affected by anything in the physical world. Sakshi, it becomes the witness. The implication of witness is you are not affected at all by your own whims and fancies and your own preconceived ideas. You are not affected. You see the truth. It may look on at the action of nature as a thing from which it stands apart. Okay? It has not identified itself with body, mind, life. It watches, but does not itself participate. Okay? Very clear. Now, we have seen the importance of this quietistic capacity. What is the importance? Your wrong idea that you are body, mind, life disappears and you start seeing the truth. That the body, mind, life are only instruments given to you. You are not the body, mind, life. So a huge amount of knowledge already comes in when the ignorance disappears. The first level. It is the basis of the movement of withdrawal by which we can say of everything. And what is that everything? Prakriti, body, life, vital, mental action, even your thoughts. Thought, okay, you're making a decision between mental action and thought. A thought is something that comes in your mind, but mental action you may take a little bit of will also you can apply. I would like to do this, and you initiate the action. Sensation. Sensation is in the physical sensation, feeling of hot, cold, okay, pain, pleasure, this sensation, the body. Then emotion. Emotion also is part of the, normally when you use the word emotion, it's the higher vital level. Okay. You can have also wrong emotions at the lower vital level, but this is normally, now you can say when you separate yourself entirely, this is Prakriti working in the life, mind and body. It is not myself, it is not even mine. The first level is you completely dissociate yourself with your body, mind, life. This is the witness attitude. And thus comes to the soul's separation from all these things and to their quiescence. Okay? They become calm and quiet. Now, this attitude of the witness, okay, can take three positions. This is very interesting. This may therefore be an attitude of renunciation or at least of non-participation. In other words, three possibilities are there when you become the witness. You go to the self and three possibilities. One is tamasika. That means with a resigned and inert endurance of the natural action so long as it lasts. The physical world is giving the body, mind, life pain and pleasure and all these things, and you tolerate it. Okay? But you don't do anything about it. There is a resigned and inert endurance of the natural action, action of nature on your body, mind, life, so long as it lasts. But it can also be a rajasic. That's what happens to the ascetic. He, with a disgust, aversion, and recoiled from it. He said, my God, look at this. I am pure consciousness. And the body, mind, life is full of impurities and density and darkness and no will, no consciousness, nothing at all. I don't want to have anything to do with it. Rajasic. You are very, very energetically, you refuse the body, mind, life. But there can also be a sattvic reaction. All these possibilities are there for the self. Okay? You can be witness, and even witness, you can have these three attitudes. And what is the sattvic one? A luminous intelligence of the soul's separateness and peace and joy of aloofness and repose. The soul understands that, okay, I am not the body, mind, life, I have understood, but I am not going to completely uh, separate myself from it. I understand what it is, and neither do I reject it very violently because there is a connection. So it's a luminous intelligence of the soul separate. But you are separate, and you get peace, and you may even get joy of aloofness and repose. Now, in Sri case, he did not get the joy. Okay? He says very clearly in his letter to Dilipda, there was no emotion at all, only peace and liberation. and a vastness. Okay. But when there is peace, obviously there is some part of you which is enjoying the peace. So that is the background of joy is there. Okay. He mentions that elsewhere. May also be attended by an equal and impersonal delight. But on the other hand, you can also have delight. And you are watching as a spectator of a show. Okay, the show is not influencing you at all. When the show is influencing you, you are identified with it. When you are watching a film, okay, and you um, when you see the film, you identify yourself with the happy scenes and the emotional scenes, and you either cry or you laugh. That is our normal condition. We are identified with the show, which is the body mind life, and we suffer the consequences. By the way, I just want to tell you something, all of you. Okay, I have just watched that movie which spoke of the movie. That's why I'm telling you that the Kashmir Files, my God, it's making huge waves in India. So I would recommend you really to see that movie if you can. It's fantastic, absolutely fantastic. It is changing. Pardon?
You went to theater to see that movie?
Yes, I went. I'm confessing because it is history in the making. Okay, that's why I went. I'm not interested in movies, but I went because it's a game changer.
It's a new India awakening.
Absolutely, the new India, exactly. So if you want, if you can see it in the theater anywhere, and don't watch it on your pen drive, because they have distorted many of these things. So watch it in a movie theater, they say. Okay, it's fantastic, absolutely fantastic. It is completely changed. Even
Rangada,
yeah,
I'm going to Delhi this Sunday because I have a meeting on Monday, and I'm specifically going on Sunday and going alone to watch this in Delhi.
yes, yes, you do that. Okay, it's fantastic, absolutely. It's worth watching. It's making huge waves. The whole country is talking about it. Even that fellow, what's his name? The Farooq Abdullah, who was saying, a video has come to me. Okay, 1999, he's saying, we are going to be separate. हम लोग अलग हो जाने वाले हैं. We are going to become Azad. Azadi will get. Now he's saying, let us forgive and forget. Even he is changing his own attitude. Okay, it's fantastic because now the
Forgive and forget whom? To him.
pardon, pardon.
Forgive and forget to whom? To we have to forgive him for all his deeds.
Exactly. What a hypocrite. Okay. The,
Rangada, you should also watch Tashkent Files by the same director.
I've seen that.
Okay, yeah.
I've seen that. Yeah, he loves to do these things. Okay. And it's a fantastic one. Absolutely. All the misdeeds of the Congress government he's exposing. Okay, so let's come back to our. I mentioned the movie, that's why I remembered it. Okay, so you can watch and you are absolutely unaffected. In another place in the synthesis, he says that you are like a parent watching the tantrums of your own child, and you know that is nothing serious. Okay, he's crying and howling. Okay, the body mind life is crying and howling, pain and all these things. But you know when you are in the witness consciousness that there is nothing serious about it, very, very superficial, and you are absolutely unaffected. In fact, you can even enjoy it. Okay, just as an indulgent parent will be looking at a child who is crying because he has been denied something and his toy has been taken away. He sets up a loud howl, but the parent is not at all affected. They know there is nothing serious. So that's the attitude that Shandu is saying here. Spectator at a show, joyous and unattached, and ready to rise up at any moment and joyfully depart. It doesn't make any difference to you at all. The attitude of the witness at its highest is the absolute of unattachment and freedom from affection by the phenomena of the cosmic existence. Note the word affection, huh? Don't get affected by the wrong meaning. Affection means love and sympathy, but not here. Here it means you are not affected. Okay. Again, You have to you have to understand the words in the correct way. Here, affection means you are not affected by the phenomena of the cosmic existence. Okay, it's a very interesting para. Basically, is telling you that when you separate yourself from your body, mind, life, many attitudes are possible. And he has listed all the attitudes taken mainly from the Gita, because he is using even the same words. In fact, he has told that very clearly right in the beginning. The distinction made in the Gita. Okay, so all these experiences are possible. We can go to the next para. Okay, as a pure witness. So Gita read it. So now Sunki or Shilpa can read, because Archana can't read. Yeah.
Shall I read?
Yeah, go ahead.
As the As the pure witness, the soul refuses the function of upholder or sustainer of nature. The upholder, Bharata, is another god or force or Maya, but not the soul, which only admits the reflection of the natural action upon its watching consciousness, but not any responsibility for maintaining or continuing it. It does not say, all this is in me and maintained by me, an activity of my being, but at the most, this is imposed on me, but really external to myself. Unless there is a clear and real duality in existence, this cannot be the whole truth of the matter. The soul is the upholder also. It supports in its being the energy which unrolls the spectacle of the cosmos and which conducts its energies. When the Purusha accepts this upholding, it may be do it still passively and without attachment, feeling that it contributes the energy, but not that it controls and determines it. The control is another god or force or the very nature of Maya. The soul only upholds indifferently, so long as it must, so long perhaps as the force of its past sanction and interest in the energy continues and refuses to be exhausted. But if the attitude of the upholder is fully accepted, an important step forward has been taken toward identification with the active Brahman and his joy of cosmic being. For the Purusha has become the active giver of the sanction.
Yeah. So he is describing now, he described in the previous one, he described the witness, Sakshi. Now he is describing the Bharta, not Bharata, Bharta. Okay?
Oh,
The root is Bri. Bri is to support, to hold up. Okay? So Bharta is the one who supports. So he is describing. We'll have a look at what he's saying. As the pure witness.
Rangada, I had just one question in the previous paragraph that other than tamasic, rajasic, sattvic, I think it is also the psychic delight, the last one, but by an impersonal delight as of a spectator at a show. After the sattvic, he says, but also it may be attended by an equal and impersonal delight
Okay.
as of a spectator at a show, joyous but unattached.
Mm-hmm.
So after he says, with the luminous intelligence of the soul, separateness and peace of joy, that is the sattvic. Then it says, but it may be attended by an equal and impersonal delight. So
Yeah.
could that be the psychic beyond the sattvic, rajasic, tamasic, which is of nature?
Okay. When he is saying impersonal delight, okay, it means the cosmic above, because the psychic is not impersonal. It is not impersonal. It is very, very personal. Okay, you feel yourself very much like a person. Okay, so impersonal delight is talking only of that higher level. But again, here he is meaning that. But I don't say that with the experience of the self, the psyche cannot be there. Of course, it can be there. But when he uses about impersonal delight, it does mean the higher level. Okay, at the without any affection, impersonal delight. It's not a personal delight, but it is a fact that this psyche can influence. It is quite possible for you to live in a consciousness which is self, which in the self, and yet there is a connection with the psychic being. That's very possible, because the self is the one that allows the psychic being. There is a connection between the two, the personal and the impersonal. The self is the impersonal, but the psychic is the personal aspect. So what you are saying is definitely possible, but it's not always so. When he is saying equal and impersonal delight, he is talking mainly of the impersonal delight of the self. Okay? In Sremdo's case, for instance, he absolutely had no psychic emotion at all. The psychic gives you emotion, deep delight, but this is an impersonal delight. Okay, now you try to make out the difference between impersonal delight and personal delight. I think only an experience will be able to make that clear to us. But there is a difference between impersonal delight and a personal delight. Okay. So, what Gita pointed out, Gita Jili, that it is possible for the two to merge. He says that very clearly elsewhere. You can have both at the same time. Okay. You can have a connection, but it's not necessarily that it. He is talking of that here. Okay. So that's what I have to say. So, in fact, he is so clear about it that there are so many different combinations and permutations possible. In Sremdo's case, very clear. There is no emotion at all. He says that very, very clearly. So, if there is no emotion at all, it is only impersonal delight. No? Okay. We come back to the new para. As the pure witness, the soul refuses the function of upholder or sustainer nature. You find a complete dichotomy. I have nothing to do with the body-mind life. I am completely separate. I am pure consciousness. Body-mind life is only something gross and imperfect, and it is my instruments given to me for action. The upholder, Bharta, is another. God or force or Maya, but not the soul, which only admits a reflection of the natural action upon its watching consciousness, but not any responsibility for maintaining or continuing it. So, you are the witness, but you are also upholding. I think it would be very fair to say it would be like a parent who is supporting his child, not commenting. Even when he sees that his child is doing something wrong, he continues to support it, but he is not taking any responsibility. So look at the words; it's very interesting. But not the soul, which only admits a reflection of the natural action about its watching consciousness. Yes, my son is doing something wrong, but I am just watching it. I am not making any comment. I am not taking any responsibility for it, maintaining or continuing it. It does not say all this is in me and maintained by me. Okay? It's not a complete identification, an activity of my being. It is not fully connected with me. But at the most, it can say, this is imposed on me. Okay? The body mind, there is a connection, but that connection is a superficial imposition on me, but really external to myself. The body mind life is separate from me, but there is some connection because I am, after all, supporting the body mind life. I am the Bharta. But the Bharta is not taking any responsibility yet because it is still witness. Very subtle differences are there. Okay, just think about it. I am the witness. First, I have nothing to do with body mind life. Pure witness. Second, Bharta. Oh, my soul was in the body mind life and there is a connection. After all, I am the universe is creating the individual. Therefore, my soul is also supporting the body mind life, individual's body mind life. Even at birth, my soul has come into the body mind life. There is a connection. It has chosen to come into this particular body. Therefore, there is a connection. Unless there is a clear and real duality in existence, this cannot be the whole truth of the matter. Okay? The soul is the upholder also. So, Surendra is saying that different experiences are possible, but the soul is the upholder also. It can support. It supports in its being the energy which unrolls the spectacle of the cosmos and which conducts its energies. It's like the water behind the dam. Because the water behind the dam is the self, it allows the water to come out and create the universe. Okay? But if the water behind the dam is not there, there can be no river. Okay? It's like that. So you are the supporter. Your soul, at an individual level, it becomes the soul and the body-mind life. There's a connection. When the Purusa accepts this upholding, it may do it still passively and without attachment. Okay? Oh yes, I see that there is a connection. But I don't want to go beyond that connection. I just see that. Feeling that it contributes is, where is it gone? That it contributes the energy, but not that it controls and determines it. Again, I come back to the image of the parent, an indulgent parent who is supporting his child, but not trying to control the child. This attitude also is possible. Okay? There are parents who do that. I will give my child freedom, let him do what he wants, but I will continue to support him. I won't disown him. Okay? It's interesting the way he's saying that, but not that it controls and determines it. But there are other parents also who say that no, I want to correct my child. That is the one there where you become the Anumanta. You want to correct your child. You want to correct your wrong movements of body, mind, life. That also is possible. Okay. Now, the control is another. God or force or the very nature of Maya. All these different attitudes are possible. Each one you carefully see and think about it. So many different possibilities are there. The soul only upholds indifferently so long as it must, so long perhaps as the force of its past sanction and interest in the energy continues and refuses to be exhausted. Now, that's an interesting thing. Usually we use the image of the scooter. Okay, the scooter, you are accelerating, and normally you are allowing the scooter to move with your acceleration. But then when you see they are 100 meters away from the destination, you switch off the engine. So will the scooter stop? No. Which is the scooter? Your body, mind, life, your nature. And your energy you are supplying to it. But now you become the Anumanta. You are not the Bharta anymore. You are the Anumanta. You say, no, I want the body, mind, life also to change. So I stop my permission. You switch off the engine. But the old nature, the old habits will continue until the energy which has already been supplied to it exhausts itself. Okay, that's why the image of the scooter is very interesting and very apt. Okay, so it goes on, but now you are not saying yes to body, mind, life. You withhold the permission. The control has not yet come. You have only withheld the permission. So you have switched off. Okay, but then the next stage is control and mastery. That's the last one. Okay, so we'll come to that. The soul is the upholder also, but it supports in its being the energy which unrolls the spectacle of the cosmos and which conducts its energies. When the Purusa accepts this upholding, it may do it still passively, okay, and without attachment. As I told you, the parent is watching its own child, but passively. I am just watching what he is doing. Feeling that it contributes energy, but not that it controls and determines it. This attitude also is possible. Very subtle differences are there. The control is another. Control is now you want to change. Okay? The habits of body, mind, life, God or force, or the very nature of Maya. The soul only upholds indifferently so long as it must, so long perhaps as the force of its past sanction you have allowed in the past, and interest in the energy continues and refuses to be exhausted. The habit goes on for long, even after it refuses to be exhausted. The old bad habit or even the good habit, because you have to be free of all habits, because habits condition you, limit you. But if the attitude of the upholder is fully accepted, an important step forward has been taken towards identification with the active Brahman and his joy of cosmic being. So, Surendra is saying you can take the position of the passive Brahman. You can say, okay, let the body mind do whatever it wants. I am not interested. But there also there are several degrees. One, the ascetic says, yes, I am not interested at all, but I even reject it. But the other one is the passive acceptance. You don't reject it, but you say, what does it matter? Let it do what it wants. That's another one. But now Surendra is saying, no, get the connection with it and become the active Brahman. Start acting on your body, mind, life and do something about it. That's a control. That's the Ishvara. Okay. So you can see very clearly all the gradations. And his joy of cosmic being. I am not rejecting the cosmos. I am not rejecting body, mind, life. I will take pleasure in it. Okay. For the Purusa has become the active giver of the sanction. You become the Anumanta. So first you are Sakshi, absolutely unattached. Second, you are the Bharta. A slight connection is there and you are only supporting it passively or actively. When you start actively supporting, you become the Anumanta. You become the permission giver. Okay. So 8:31. We have got 9 minutes. I think we can read the next one. It's a very small one. Okay. So one by one, he is giving you all the explaining all the terms in the Gita. We go to the next one. In the attitude of the witness. So now,
I will,
yeah,
I will
Sonki.
read.
Yeah, Sonki, please.
In the attitude of the witness, there is also a kind of sanction, but it is passive, inert, and has no kind of absoluteness about it. But if he consents entirely to uphold, the sanction has become active, even though the soul may do no more than consent to reflect, support, and thereby maintain in action all the energies of Prakriti. It may refuse to determine, to select, believing that it is God or force itself, or some knowledge will that selects and determines, and the soul only a witness, an upholder, and thereby giver of the sanction, Anumanta, but not the possessor and the director of the knowledge and the will, Jiñatya Ishvara. Then there is a general sanction in the form of an active upholding of whatever is determined by God or universal will, but there is not an active determination. But if the soul habitually selects and rejects in what is offered to it, it determines. The relatively passive has become an entirely active sanction and is on the way to be an active control.
So I have a lot of difference of text here between because I have the old text. My tablet has gone for repair, okay, so I don't have the full text. I could have used the CWSA, but then my notes are not there. That's why I'm using the old book. Even then, what he's saying here is very clear. First level witness only without any connection with the body mind life. And there also there are 3 degrees possible. I Thomas, okay, I am not connected with body, mind, life. But what does it matter? It doesn't matter. I am in the consciousness of the self. I am very happy. Second, it rejects violently. Though the body, mind, life is something so dirty and impure and limited, I reject it. And the third one, sattvic attitude. Okay, I was connected with it at one time. I understand it, but I am not really bothered too much about it. That's witness still. The connection is not there, but your attitude changes. Then you come to the Bharta. The soul is still separate, but you realize that there is some connection and you are supporting, actually you are supporting the body mind life. In fact, you are giving permission to it. That's it. The next one is the Anumanta. You realize that you have also power over the body mind life. You are the permission giver. You have actually told the body mind life to do whatever it is doing. All your past actions in past lives, all your habits and all your movements have been sanctioned by the soul. Then last one, you understand that body mind life is part of me only. Okay, it is the lowest part of me. Okay, it's the lowest part, but even then it's part of me, and I want to change that. Then you the active Brahman. That's what he's saying. You become the knower and the Ishvara. Ishvara means Lord, Master. You become the master of your own being. And the word used in Sanskrit is Swarat. You become the emperor of your own kingdom. But you can also become the emperor of the outer world. That's a Samrat. That's what Sri Aurobindo was doing when he was in the last towards after 1945, when the war started, 1939 to 1945, he was actively intervening in the physical world and changing conditions and helping the allies. Okay, so we come to the end of this. We got 3-4 minutes left. So if there are any questions, we can see. But otherwise, this is the gradation that he is speaking. First, Sakshi, then Bharta, then Anumanta, then Jnata, Bhokta. You start enjoying everything also, and you become the master. So these are all the possibilities when you experience the self. Okay. Very clearly, Srendra has told you that there is no one exceptional and unchanging attitude of the soul. It can take so many poisons. Okay. So shall we stop here today? Okay.